swasta yang dapat turut serta pada hari ini. Untuk pengetahuan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, UniMAP Sustainable Energy Series pada hari ini merupakan yang kali kedua diadakan. Iaitu yang kali pertama diadakan pada bulan lalu, yang mana yang bertajuk Energy Audit Conditional Grant, Its Impact to the Organisation and Nation, yang mana penceramahnya adalah daripada Seda Malaysia. Untuk pengetahuan tuan-tuan dan puan-puan dan mereka yang hadir dalam sesi webinar pada bulan yang lalu, sesi tersebut telah mendapat approval daripada pihak BEM sebanyak 2 CPD dan daripada pihak MBOT sebanyak 1.5 jam CPD. Hadirin dan hadirat yang dirahmati Allah sekalian, pada hari ini pula kita bawakan satu ceramah yang akan membincangkan berkenaan dengan peraturan-peraturan dan polisi-polisi berkenaan dengan kecekapan tenaga. Dan untuk itu, kita telah menjemput penceramah khas daripada Suruhanjaya Tenaga, iaitu Encik Zulkiflee bin Umar. Assalamualaikum Encik Zul. Terima kasih. Saya pihak majlis, pihak Pusat Pengusahaan Tenaga, KOSEM, UniMAP, mengucapkan berbanyak terima kasih kepada Cik Zul kerana menerima jemputan kita pada hari ini. Okey, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, sebagai tambahan, sesi webinar kita juga turut disiarkan secara langsung menerusi FB KOSEM. Hadirin dan hadirat yang dihormati sekalian, sebelum kita mulakan sesi ceramah kita, ingin saya untuk membacakan sedikit berkenaan biodata penceramah kita, iaitu Encik Zulkiflee bin Umar. Iaitu beliau telah mendapat pendidikan daripada University of Wollongong di Australia dalam bidang Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering dan memulakan tugasannya di Suruhanjaya Tenaga bermula pada tahun 2005, bertugas sebagai Head of Demand Side Management pada tahun 2012 dan sekarang sebagai Deputy Director, iaitu Timbalan Pengarah Energy Efficiency and Conservation di Department of Industry Operation Suruhanjaya Tenaga Malaysia. Beliau seorang yang paling sesuai untuk membincangkan berkenaan tajuk ini, di mana beliau bertanggungjawab terhadap pelbagai peraturan seperti peraturan EMIR, peraturan MAPS, Energy Service Company dan juga lain-lain lagi. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, majlis menyerahkan sepenuhnya majlis ini kepada Encik Zul untuk sesi ceramah beliau. Dengan segala hormatnya dipersilakan.
Terima kasih Tuan Pengerusi Majlis. Kita start sekali lagi kan. Okey. Tadi saya ada mention pasal allow saya untuk present this material dalam both language, bahasa Malaysia, bahasa Inggeris. Campur-campur lah kata rojak tidak lah, tapi campur lah. And please panggil saya Zul. Senang sikit. Kalau pergi international punya meeting, bila sebut nama penuh ni, terbalik lidah Mak Saleh nak sebut. Okay, just a bit of a sharing. So I like to call this a sharing session. Saya nak share tentang EE activity, energy efficiency activity di Malaysia. As a title yang dimention oleh Tuan Pengerusi Majlis tadi, I like the title, never use it. Jarang saya guna, tapi the content of the presentation is with regards to the title yang dimention tadi, implementing energy efficiency through legislation and policy, which is very nice actually. Mungkin saya copycat ni saya taruh dalam saya punya presentation punya title. Okay. So again, nama saya Zulkiflee Umar daripada unit kecekapan dan pemeliharaan tenaga, or in English easier, energy efficiency and conservation. I think everyone can understand that better. Sometimes orang tanya what is the meaning of pemeliharaan, so I used to say is conservation lah. Okay, all right. Now A bit on Energy Commission Malaysia. So this slide basically has changes every time a ministry is announced regulating regulating the electricity and gas supply act in Malaysia. So now is the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. So we are reporting to the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, or short for KETSA, Kementerian Tenaga dan Sumber Asli. So basically, with regards to this, it's all about policy formulation with regards to energy efficiency, because currently, if we talk about energy efficiency in Malaysia, dari segi perspektif of perundangan or regulation, we only regulate electricity supply or demand side electricity consumption. So that's why sini saya taruh establishes electricity supply policy and regulations and licenses and tariffs. Basically, those are one of the main tasks. However, with regards to another act yang ST kuat kuasa, which is Akta Bekalan Gas or Gas Supply Act, kita punya jurisdiction is towards gas supply, guna pipe sahaja, piping gas supply in a piping system. So yang itu kita report kepada Economic Planning Unit. Of course, the minister in charge of this unit is Prime Minister sendiri, but the other minister in charge, which is Minister of EPU sendiri lah at the moment. So with regards to this act, kita approve pipe gas licenses and tariffs, and there are regulations with regards to the safety of the installation of the system. And then Energy Commission, which is responsible for the policy execution and industry regulation development. So this is where Energy Commission comes in, basically to enforce and regulate these two acts, which is Electricity Supply Act 1990 and Gas Supply Act 1993. Okay? So this is where we come in, we develop legal framework, we implement policy, we issue licenses and certifications, we regulate the electricity and pipe gas industry, and our regulators are basically the industry players. Okay? This is a framework of act and regulations and licenses and codes and guidelines, which is regulated by Energy Commission. Number satu, of course, we have the Energy Commission Act 2001. It is an act for the establishment of Energy Commission itself. Nombor dua, kita ada Electricity Supply Act 1990, and nombor tiga, which is in the process of drafting, is Draft Bill of Energy Efficiency Conservation Act. Saya tak masuk sini gas because these are all about electricity punya industri sahaja. So since draft of Eacg ada melibatkan electricity supply, electricity consumption on the demand side, so saya masukkan kat sini. Whereas in regulations, we have Electricity Regulations 1994, we have an amendment made in 2013, which is known as Regulation 101 for Minimum Energy Performance Standards implementation in Malaysia. This is for appliances or domestic appliances, as mungkin some of you pernah tengok di kedai-kedai elektrik, aircon, fridge, TV and domestic fan yang ada this what we call EE labels as itu. Ada star dia, 5 star, minimum dia 2 star. And then we have Licensing Supply Regulations 1990. This is with regard to the supply of electricity. We have notifications issued by Energy Commission 1994. And then number 4, we have Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulations 2008, or short for Umar. This is where we come in and regulate electricity consumption with regards to the efficient management of it. And then we have licenses issued by Energy Commission to generators, distributors, suppliers, and of course consumers lah. Sorry, not consumers. Industry codes and guidelines are all issued by Energy Commission with regards to safety and operation of our grid and distribution line. And we have agreements between industry players, power purchase agreements, PPA, and fuel supply agreements. I'd like to share a bit about our final energy demand by sectors. As you can see, it's in colors. Sorry, ni copy daripada May punya database. So I have it up until 2018 from 2008. It's a 10 years period. I think it's a nice period for us to showcase trend of our final energy demand by sectors. As you can see, the top, I can say that blue colored line is our transport sector, in the sense that they are consuming the most of energy. And then the second line is in red, which is the industrial sector. And you can see the agriculture, which is in green line, which is at the bottom there. And then you have non-energy and residential and commercial. So as you can see, for the past 10 years, that transport is the biggest consumers of final energy demand, or biggest consumers of energy. Next is electricity demand per capita, or maybe consumption per capita, means that the usage of electricity per person in Malaysia. So as you can see, we are ever increasing from 2008, I think about a bit less than 3,500 ton of oil equivalent per person. And now it's about 4,000, almost above 4,005 KTOE per person. I think this is more towards kilowatt hour. I think the y-axis is not right there. Okay. This is in terms of final energy intensity. As you can see, that intensity is, I think, slightly lower than 2008 in 2018. I'm not sure why, but I think maybe it's because of some of the EE initiative implemented is in place and is being practiced by those. I'm taking credit for it. Okay, this is what I would like to share. Another one is what do you call it? A diagram of electricity supply in Malaysia. This is from 2014, but there's not much difference from 2014 to now. What I would like to share is that our sources of generation comes from oil, coal, hydro, and natural gas. Okay, as you can see, basically, gas and coal takes the most part of fuel in the generation of electricity. I think now there's a bit of a changes already, where I think coal is surpassing natural gas. Must get a new data then. But we also have some coming from biomass, landfill, mini hydro, and solar PV. So on your right, you can see that within the demand side, you can see that industry sector is the most consuming in terms of electricity, which is about 37% or 38%, followed by commercial sector of about 31%, and then domestic sector for about 20% there. So again, with regards to electricity consumption, industry is the most, followed by commercial sector and also domestic sector. And with regards to energy efficiency, this is where we focus, we put our focus upon. Right, now, you can get this from our National Energy Balance Report. I just wanted to share the differences or similarities in terms of consumption and intensity usage. So as you can see, Malaysia is in red color. Our consumption among ASEAN countries can be considered as average, about 4,000 kilowatt hour per capita per person. The most in terms of consumption in ASEAN is Brunei Darussalam and also Singapore. And you can see that some of the developed countries like Denmark, Japan, Germany, France, and Korea, they are consuming also a lot more than Malaysia. But if you look at the diagrams at the bottom there, you can see that with regards to intensity, means that how intense we are using electricity, Malaysia kind of slightly more than most of our ASEAN counterparts, except for Thailand. Brunei, as I was told that the reason they consume a lot, the reason the intensity is low is because they don't have heavy industry in Brunei Darussalam, comparing to Malaysia and also Thailand. Okay, but as you can see, most of the developed countries, such as Denmark, Japan, Germany, and France, with regards to intensity comparing to consumption, they are very, very low. So it is not an entirely correct demonstration to compare energy efficiency. with regards to consumption intensity, but it's something that I like to look upon once in a while and see what is the gap between us and some of the countries. Okay, this is a simple definition of energy efficiency. It means that the reduction in energy use without compromising comfort or quality of output. So basically what I'm saying here is that if you have never sweat, not a single sweat in your office or anywhere, any premises that you work or live, and suddenly when you conduct energy efficiency initiatives, you're starting to sweat, that means it is not a good energy efficiency program, okay? Because it's already compromising on your comfort. The other example I can use is basically if you can see something clearly before you conduct EE program, but after EE program you have to put on glasses or something that requires you to look better, to see things better, then it's also not a good energy efficiency program. So basically, those are a simple definition of energy efficiency that we used to share with everyone. Okay, now before I share with you about EE in Malaysia, I would like to share about the initiative under ASEAN with regards to the energy sector. There are 7 of them, from ASEAN Power Grid to civilian nuclear energy. Energy efficiency is part at number 4. And the aim is to reduce energy intensity by 20% 2020 and 2005 level based on the 2005 level, and 30% by 2025. However, since we have done quite a good job of EE&C in ASEAN, we have achieved 20% target in 2018. So we are ahead of what we have set up to achieve. And so there has been a revision of targets whereby in 2025, we are required to achieve about 35% target based on the 2005 level. So in ASEAN, energy efficiency conservation is considered as one of the tools in order to reduce the energy consumption on the demand side so that we can plan better with regards to our generation. As you can see there, civilian nuclear energy was never taken out of discussion, but it remains as a topic of discussion among ASEAN countries in case we do need it in the future. Okay. All right, our basic approaches to energy efficiency. So basically, we have 4 major approach or principles with regards to promoting energy efficiency. I do not say regulating, but more promoting EE. So number 1, we have economic measures. We have to implement study on energy pricing and also providing fiscal incentives with regard to economic measures. Basically, what I'm saying is that we need to see whether the people will have the means to purchase or implement EE program or EE equipment or EE program. And then after we have done all that study, knowing the fact that maybe we do have the capability, then we have to start creating what we call a persuasive measures. This is where we are trying to create awareness. We are sharing about why EE is important, why is that we need to do energy efficiency, why we need to control our demand so that it does not spiral up in a way that it is out of control. So we do need to do that. And basically what IEA is saying now is that energy efficiency is the first fuel, meaning that it's the first thing that we need to do before we even consider, okay, this is from the perspective of an EE person, before we even consider putting a solar panel on our rooftop. Okay, that's what we need to do. We need to reduce our consumption first before we think of doing something else. If not, then you can put as many solar panels as you want or wind turbine as you want. But if you do not reduce on your consumption, then you'll keep harping on having a power plant every few years. Okay, And then after we have conducted our persuasive measures where people have shown interest on EE, then we come up with the prescriptive measures. It is basically to prescribe and regulate technical standards and guidelines which people can follow, and basically it's like creating a standards Malaysia. So that's what we do now. And then last but not least is research and development and demonstration. We do R&D. The best example I can give is with regards to building performance, building energy performance. For example, Energy Commission's HQ building in Putrajaya is an example of energy efficient buildings with the design requirement and standards, and also the solar panel that installed on the rooftop. So given us the ability to gain the platinum awards from Singapore Green Mark, and also our GBI in Malaysia. Thank you. All right. I'd like to share the energy efficiency initiatives in Malaysia since 1996 up to 2018. Again, I stop at 2018 because this is where the Eacg drafting began. And during those times, we have a lot to do with regards to the drafting. So we have quite a lot of a program. In 1999, we have our own Malaysian Industrial Energy Efficiency Improvement Program, MIEIP. This is where ESCO's initiative was first introduced in Malaysia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that some of the ESCO's program or initiative were implemented during this initiative. And then in 2001, we have our first development of Malaysian Standard MS1525. It is an EE and RE. Sorry, I forgot the names. For non-domestic buildings. And then in 2002, we have our first energy audit program in government buildings. In 2008, we have gazetted our email regulations in December 2008. In 2009, we have our first GBI, local rating tools in Malaysia to measure the performance of a building in terms of energy efficiency and all. And then in 2010, we have our first GTFS, Green Technology Financing Scheme. That's where the BC project began also in 2010, 2016. In 2011, we have peer review on energy efficiency from APEC, and then that's where we have our first SAFE program from 2011 to 2013. And then in 2012, we have our industrial EE for the manufacturing sector, IEE MMS. This is where we introduced the ISO 50001 adoption by industrial sector. In 2013, we gazetted our minimum energy performance standards maps, and also we first introduced EPC, energy performance contracting, in the government sector. Anybody has a question?
Ada satu soalan, Encik Zul.
Yep.
Okey, daripada Dr. Bablu Kumar Ghosh.
Okay.
Dia presenter energy intensity.
Okay.
Energy GDP, is it related to GDP? Its negative trend is it how GDP is gradually less influenced by energy efficient energy users?
Ya, saya buka dulu. Okay. Energy intensity, is it related to GDP? Yes, currently is related. However, some developed countries has already, decouple GDP and energy efficiency. If I'm not mistaken, Japan has done that. But for developed countries, we still there is a connection between energy intensity and also our GDP. Okay, so that's the answer lah at the moment. Okay. Right.
Okay, boleh teruskan.
Okay.
Soalan kita akan attempt pada akhir sesi.
Okay. Where was I? Okay. And then Well, in 2014, we have monitoring of Ministries' electricity consumption initiated by the previous KSN, where he wanted us to start monitoring the electrical energy consumption in 25 ministries, including PMOs in government sector. And the initiative is conducted via no-cost, low-cost measures. And I think 4 years down the road, I think in 2017, the total savings that we achieved from these 25 ministries is about the 18% reduction in electricity consumption from no-cost, low-cost measures only. And then in 2016, we have our biggest project so far, which is the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan 2016-2025. Later on, I will explain to you in detail of what Neap is all about. Short for Neap. And then we started our EE projects in the 11th Malaysia Plan to support the Neap program known as Eacg, Energy Audit Conditional Grant. And then in 2017, we have our EPC fund, where we started to, after introducing EPC in 2013, we also wanted to support the energy saving measures in the private sector by setting up EPC fund with MDV. And then in 2018, as I mentioned just now, we have our EECA drafting, and that is the beginning of our BEI label initiatives in the government sector, where we start labeling the government buildings with the BEI label according to a ratings that is been approved by the government. Later on, I will share about the details of this program. Okay. Now, that was the introduction. See, I was trying to go as slow as I can to make up for the 2 hours given. Okay. Now, I would like to share about the as the title mentioned by the MC just now, that legislation implementing EE through legislation. This is one of the legislation that we have at the moment with regards to electrical energy efficiency management in Malaysia, known as the Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulations 2008, which is short for EMIR. We kept putting the years to show that this regulation, so how long this regulation has existed. So if you include 2022, the regulation is now 14 years old. Okay. Details about the regulations. It is applicable to any installation that consume and also generate electricity, but I like to focus on the consume part, equal or exceeding 3 million kilowatt hour in 6 consecutive months. The simplest term I can put is that if you times the 3 million kilowatt hour with the base tariff, with the current base tariff, that means that they are paying annually an electricity bill of about 2.4 million ringgit minimum. Okay, so those who are at the minimum entry to this or being subjected to the regulation, they are paying a minimum of 2.4 million ringgit annually to TMB. Okay, and there are 2,000 installations currently subjected to the regulation. Okay, so that's a minimum alone. So you can imagine how much they are paying TMB as of now. Okay, so basically the duties and responsibilities of an installation affected under this regulation is to appoint a registered electrical energy manager, to submit a written confirmation of the appointment, to submit information of affected installation, policy, objectives, accounts, and documentation. And last but not least, to submit any other reports that Eacg Commission requires them to submit. Okay, so number one, to appoint a registered electrical energy manager. Registered means being registered by Energy Commission. Okay, so basically we have cases where they went for a course, an energy manager course, and they have been given a cert for attendance, and they said that we are now a registered electrical engineer. Not so. You need to have a cert from Energy Commission that says the word PTE, and also what do you call that? PTE number and the cert that is issued by Energy Commission. So basically, these are what the duties and responsibilities of affected installation once they receive a notice by Energy Commission. So we obtain the list from TNB, where TNB will list out installation that has been using electricity equal or more than 3 million kilowatt hour and submit the list to Energy Commission for our further action. Okay. Registered Electrical Energy Managers, REM. The qualification is basically a Malaysian citizen aged 23 years and above. Do not ask me why I do not. I'm just kidding. We do not start at 18 because we assume 23 years of age is a year where they finish their degree courses. If they are a professional engineer, they will need at least 6 months working experience in electrical energy efficiency, or if they have a degree in science, engineering, architecture, they will require at least 1 year working experience in electrical energy efficiency, or if they hold a certificate of competency as an electrical service engineer or as a competent electrical engineer with Energy Commission, they will need at least 9 months of working experience in electrical energy efficiency. Now, there are some who will ask me why there is a difference between professional engineer and those who hold a certificate of competency with Energy Commission. Because by right, those people, the third people are working in this industry, so they should know more about energy efficiency compared to the professional engineer. I will tell them that I do not know why, because during the time when this regulation was drafted, I was still not in the EE department. But I do speak to my former teacher, which is Mr. Francis Xavier, and he was the one who's asking the question, and he said maybe during those time, we feel like professional engineer will have a lot more exposure with regards to energy efficiency. So that's one of the explanations that I can give. And they need to demonstrate knowledge of the requirements of the Act, which is the Electricity Supply Act, and also the regulation, which is the email regulations that satisfies the Commission. This means that we have the right to call them for an interview and assess their knowledge on the Act and on energy efficiency during the interview. Okay, so that is our qualification. And once they become registered electrical energy manager, the green colored one are basically the function and duties of a registered electrical energy manager, which is number one, to audit and analyze the total electrical energy consumption in that particular installation, to advise in the development and implementation of measures to ensure efficient management of electrical energy at the installation. Basically, they also need to advise and they need to monitor the implementation. So audit, analyze, advise, and monitor, okay, with regards to the implementation. And then the second last one is to supervise the keeping of records. They will need to keep all the records with regards to energy efficiency, mainly the bills, the reduction of the bills, measures that has been conducted. And they need to verify the accuracy of the record. And also to ensure timely submission of information and reports under the regulations to Energy Commission. Okay, basically that's I saw a question just now, so can I just go for it? Do you have any data demand per capita for? Yes, we do. If you there's a website known as ME, Malaysian Energy Information Hub, under the Energy Commission. You can type MEIH or Malaysian Energy Information Hub. There is a statistic in there up until 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So we do have that. Or you can browse through our NEB report that is being published biannually by Energy Commission. You can also download it online from our website. Why transport using more energy compared to industry? Interesting questions. I've been wondering about that too, of why, because I think at any one time we can only drive one car, isn't it, or one transport. So I'm not quite sure, to be honest, why. But maybe because of there is a lot of vehicle on the road in Malaysia compared to countries where the transport is not so extensive use. And also because of maybe we do not have We do not have a rating for vehicle fuel efficiency in Malaysia as of yet. Maybe. So, but when with regards to transport, it's not just cars and trucks. We also include ships, boats, planes, and things like that with regards to our transport fuel use for transport sector. Thank you. Okay, now, let's get back. Okay, next. This is an installation subjected to IMER 2008 since 2013. The reason I choose 2013 because that's the year where the numbers is quite high. Before that, it's around 1,005, 1,004. So suddenly, 2013, we have a list from TMB that shows the numbers is ever increasing. As of 2021, we have around 2,000 installation subjected to the regulation. The green colored one is the numbers of energy managers that has been appointed by installations to provide their service. These are the total electrical energy consumption installation under IMER 2008. As you can see, the unit is in terawatt hour. So there is an interesting trend with regards to the consumption. So I think the reduction in 2013, I think because that year we have a tariff increase, if I'm not mistaken. Suddenly we have a sudden drop, and it's been dropping and growing up again 2018. I haven't gotten the data. I haven't updated the slides, basically, to be honest, for 2019 and 2020, 2021. But we can see that after the COVID-19 that the consumption is lower than used to be. All right. This is the latest data submitted yesterday by officers yesterday. So as of now, we have registered 1,454 energy managers from various methods. We have our own interview session conducted by Energy Commission, which is in the lower numbers because of we have the assistance of establishment like MySco and IMAS, where we have recognized the program that they have provided in order for us to have more registered electrical energy manager in Malaysia. Okay. All right. I just like to share something here. Yesterday I had a session in PICC and received questions of what is the method of becoming a REAM via MySco and IMAS program. So basically, MySco and IMAS program is a 5 days course where you need to attend the courses, the 5 days courses. There'll be exam on the 4th day, and then there'll be an interview on the final day, participated by an Energy Commission officer. And then after you have completed all the 5 days courses and you have passed the exams, then they will submit your name to Energy Commission to be registered as electrical energy manager without the need for us to call for interview. Same goes for IMAS or MySco just now, where same process, 5 days course. And once you have successfully attended the program, your name will be submitted to Energy Commission by the organizers and will register you as electrical energy manager. Okay. For UTM, you need to participate or join the Masters of Energy Management courses. And once you successfully attended the courses and obtain your master's degree, then you'll be registered as an energy manager by Energy Commission without an interview. Eacg is a program under the 11 Malaysia Plan where installation participated in the program. They will have to volunteer 2 of their officers to attend training conducted by us and by the implementing agency. And after 1 year of the program, they'll be assessed on the success of their energy saving measures at their installation. And if everything goes through, then they will be registered will registered by us to become a registered electrical energy manager. So those are some of the few programs that we have at the moment. Our success rate at the moment is about 83% with regards to the adherence to the regulation, and we are working closely to get it by 100%. One of the problems that we have is that some of the installation who is at the borderline will sometimes be subjected to the regulation and sometimes not, depending on their electrical energy consumption. Okay, these are some of the activities that we conducted annually. Number one is, of course, the enforcement of UniMAP 2008. We do enforcement to installation who has yet to comply to the UniMAP 2008. We require the assistance of our regional officers in conducting the enforcement work. We did energy management audit to installation who already complied to UniMAP, but to ensure that they have followed through with whatever ESM or energy saving measures that they have informed us. And then continuous monitoring of we have a system in place now known as Energy Management Information System. EMIS is an online web reporting where now the owner can submit the report via this web portal every 6 months, and also conduct a close monitoring of UniMAP 2008 using every measures that we have, basically. Okay, so that is on the UniMAP 2008. Is there any questions before I move to the next section? Copy dulu.
Ada satu soalan, Cik Zul.
Yes.
Boleh tengok di ruangan.
Okay, a student, page 10. Energy consumption, energy efficiency use. Both graph, Malaysia, okay, quite interesting. Okay. I assume I don't have to go back to page 10, but consumption is the amount of energy you use. Okay. Simply said, basically is the amount of drinks that we have to drink daily. Okay, 4 glasses, 5 glasses. Whereas intensity is the rate of, it's how intense we drink the water. Whether we are really thirsty or we consume it in a manner where it takes us about a minute to finish a glass of water or 10 seconds to finish a glass of water. That is intensity. Okay. So the page 10 shows that developed countries, they consume a lot of electricity. Okay, banyak dia guna. Maybe because of the sectors, the industry sectors that they have, or the commercial sector that they have, is basically requires the need for lots of energy to produce a product or to produce something. That's where the GDP comes into picture, gross domestic product punya energy consumption. Intensity is basically how intense we use the energy, so if it shows that there is a reduction in intensity, that means that even though we use a lot, but we use it in efficient manner.
Wisely,
correct, yes, correct, Sadish, yes. So but some people will argue whether there is a direct correlation between.
I would like to add something regarding that matters actually.
Sure, please.
The thing is actually developed nation already they decouple the emission from the development because they are now high-tech industry they have with low energy consumption. They product very high quality, high percentage item for the how to say exporting quality.
Correct.
Most of the ODEC country actually supported now the negative energy intensity as well as negative carbon intensity. That they implemented the renewable technology with the high-tech technology in the industry that can consume less energy but more productive in the sector. Like the middle development like China, India, they are now huge using the energy. but their product actually not so very costly in sense of exporting quality like that. That's why their emission problem is severe now.
Correct.
Compared to the other country. Other means I am talking about the European Union, US and Japan as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not
Correct.
only Japan, actually European Union and US as well. They are trying
Correct.
to make it negative intensity of energy as well as carbon intensity negative.
Correct. Thank you very much. That's what we are trying to do in Malaysia at the moment, promoting to our industry in implementing EE so that they can produce a product with the same or better quality, but with a less energy use. So that's what we are promoting. So robotics and things like that comes into picture because it helps to achieve this reduction target. Okay, hope that answered the questions. Thank you, Dr. Bablu, for the supporting information. Thank you. Right. Okay, so next what I want to share is another requirement of the regulations that we have, which is known as Minimum Energy Performance Standards or MAPs. So basically we started the MAP development, or sorry, the amendments to include MAPs as part of the regulation was conducted in 3rd May 2013. If anybody remembers, it's 2 days before the election. I think PRU 13, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. So we have MAPs in place, and starting that day, we have regulated 5 domestic appliances, which is aircon, fridge, refrigerator, television, domestic fan, and lighting. So these 5 appliances in 2013 is subjected to MAPs requirement. So they need to have the ratings, which we have created, and made it become a Malaysian standards for these 5 appliances. So we have a reference of Malaysian standards for each equipment published by Standards Malaysia. We have used as you can see that the rating label of 5-star rating label with MAPs of 2-star. We don't have a 1-star MAPs in the market. It's not allowed. If you see any, you have to inform me so that I can conduct an enforcement work and confiscated the items with a 1-star rating or no label at all. So yeah. However, since the label will be too small to be placed on lighting equipment, we have come up with and also because the lighting equipment does not use ratings with regards to star ratings, but basically efficacy value. So we have come up with a different one for lighting, which can easily be seen by consumers. Okay. We have included washing machine since 2 years ago as part of the appliances that is regulated under the MAPs requirement. And as you can see here, we have EE label of 2-star to 5 stars for all these 6 appliances. Sorry, not for the lamp, for these 5 appliances. That means that more star is much more efficient in terms of energy usage. So as you can see, the EE label has energy rating 1 to 5-star, appliance type, appliance energy ratings, information on the brand and model, energy consumption in kilowatt hour per year, energy savings compared to the lower 2-star rating, and also the testing standard use. Okay, we have conducted a study with Uni10 back in 2015 to see what sort of achievement back in 2017, to see what sort of achievement that we have achieved since we started MAPs implementation in Malaysia in 2013. And as you can see on your left is a demonstration diagrams of what we have actually achieved, which is in a total of 4,937 gigawatt hour of electricity reductions, which if you time to with our base tariff, it's about 1.6 billion in RM of savings that we have achieved. We have also predicted that this is the year we're going to do another study to see what sort of savings that we have achieved from 2013 to 2022. And we have estimated at that time that the saving will double to 8,659 gigawatt hour, equivalent to 2.7 billion ringgit if you calculate it towards our base tariff. And that we have included those 6 appliances to be regulated under MAPs, which are washing machine, rice cooker, vacuum cleaner, microwave, cloth dryer, and oven. So far, we have completed washing machine, rice cooker, and also, not sure about vacuum cleaner, and microwave to be regulated under the MAPS requirement in Malaysia. Sorry, so that is just for MAPS. It's pretty simple, it's quite easy. Any questions before I move on to the next one?
Ada soalan Cik Zul?
Ada? Okay.
Okay, 2 question from Umi Syahida and Mr. Raja Wong.
Okay. So, does it require any specific qualification? Yes, I think I've showed in the slides just now that the degree qualification is engineering, science and architecture as of now. Okay. And then Mr. Roger Wong, any news, latest news on EEC? I will share it later because at the moment EECA is still under embargo where it is still considered as confidential, but I will share whatever I can later on at the end of the presentation. Okay. And Dr. Kumar says that publish. Oh, okay, cool. We'll go through that later on. Okay. So, okay, I'll move on to the next one, which is the policy currently enforced by Energy Commission. Okay, all right. Now, the next thing is about the National Energy Efficient Action Plan, which is a policy in place to target a 10 years reduction of electricity energy consumption in 2025. So basically, these are the whole overview of the map of the Neap 2016-2025. It's a 10 years plan to reduce about 52,233 gigawatt hour of saving, which is about 8% to the BAU that we have come up with in 2014. And in CO2, it's about 37,702 kiloton CO2 equivalent. Okay, so basically, we have 4 Neap guiding principles, which is sustainable development, efficient use of energy, increased competitiveness and welfare, and concerted participation. We also have 4 Neap strategic thrusts. Okay, we have number 1, implementation of EE plan. Number 2 is strengthen institutional framework, capacity development and training. Number 3 is establishment of sustainable funding mechanism. And number 4, promotion of private sector investment in EE initiatives. And we have about 3 main initiatives, which is number 1, equipment program initiative, promotion of 5-star rated appliances, 5-star MAPS rated appliances, and promotion of MAP itself or enforcement of MAP itself. And then number 2, we have industrial program initiative, which is known as energy audit, energy management in industries. We have promotion of cogen. I'll share that afterwards. And then buildings program initiative, which is energy audit, energy management in buildings, and energy efficient building design. I'll go to cogen first. So basically, we are as EE initiative in Malaysia, we are promoting cogen. Some will say cogen is on the supply side, which is generation side, but we take it as cogen being a generation within the demand side area, because as far as we know, cogen does not require high tension transmission cable to supply electricity or energy that they generated. Okay, so that's why we put cogen as part of the EE initiative under Neap. Whereas the energy efficient building design is where we are promoting the development or construction of energy efficient building in Malaysia. So, however, okay, with the implementation of BEI in place, as I mentioned earlier, the design part is slowly taken out, where we will be promoting energy efficient building only, because the design part is within the jurisdiction of other parties, such as the local authority and the Ministry of Housing. Okay. Right. So these are the 5 key initiatives of Neap program, which is number 1 is promotion 5-star, number 2 MAPS regulation, number 3 energy audit management in building and industries, I have combined those two just now together so to become one, and promotion of cogen and EE building design. Okay, Neap is targeting a 50,233 gigawatt hour of savings. It is about 8% in total in 2025. As you can see, the green color will represent 8%. Those are the annual target that we have set for us to achieve every single year. And as of 2021, we have achieved more than what we have targeted, which is about 13,188. I think if I'm not mistaken, that is about 3.9%. In 2021, we have achieved about 4.3% actually of savings. I have not updated the data, sorry. So yeah, another demonstration of Neap in place. So as I mentioned just now, the target of Neap is 3.9%, and we have calculated our achievement in 2021. It is about 4.3%. So that is Neap. Okay, there is a requirement of funding in implementing Neap, where we do need funding for us to be able to promote energy audit and management in industries and commercial. Whereas for MAPs, we do not require funding because it's already a regulation enforced by Energy Commission. Except that we need to promote for people to start purchasing 5-star rated appliances. Although in terms of pricing, it's a bit more than 3-star or 2-star, but it gives you a return in a very short time. For example, 6-7 months of savings already give you a return of investment in terms of purchasing a 5-star rated appliances. So that is why it does not require any funding in terms of implementation. Same goes to cogen. We do not require funding because it is more towards the promotion of people having cogen in Malaysia. The thing that we have been fighting for is the amount of standby charge and capacity charge and connection charge that has to be paid by industry sector with regards to cogen implementation in their premises. And with regards to EE building, we have successfully acquired the approval of the cabinet and the government to implement BI label in government buildings. Okay, so that is Neap at the moment. Any questions on Neap? I think I saw questions. Let me go. Yeah. 5-star tech, does it mean the product higher? So, yes, 5-star means that they are the most efficient of product compared to 2-star. And then okay, I like the question on tariff actually. Well, an EE program gives you savings. I mean, reduction in terms of unit of electricity you are using, and also reduction in terms of RM. When it comes to tariff is determined. One of the main factor for determination of tariff is because of fuel, the type of fuel that we use in order to generate electricity. Mainly at the moment, the two main fossil fuel that we are using is natural gas and also coal. I think the amount of it is, I think, about 45% of coal and about 41% of natural gas at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. It's about that range. So because of that main factor, the tariff determination will always be based upon fuel costs. Although EE comes into picture in reducing the demand, but since EE has given you savings based on what you have done, then at the moment I do not say that. Although EE is part of what we call the planning of our generation capacity, it has been taken into as a factor that influences the determination of our generation capacity. So in return, it does have a relation with tariff requirement, but not as high as what we want it to be at the moment. Okay, EE on building, is there the official certification of building labels? Yes. For government sector at the moment, whenever they have been labeled by us, we will communicate with the person in charge with regards to the BEI calculation that we have done, requesting them to verify the calculation and the BEI ratings that we have in place. And if they agree, then we'll send them a letter together with the BEI label for them to be placed at a conspicuous area in that building, meaning that they need to place a label at a place where it can be easily seen by whoever is entering or leaving the building. Okay, the determination of the ratings for MAPS appliances, I assume this is a MAPS appliances to Cik Hafif. Yeah, there are a process of determining the ratings. So what we need to do is we need to gather all the if we have an aircon in place, that we need to come up with the rating. So we will go to every manufacturer and importer in Malaysia, gather all the information with regards to the equipment and the ratings in terms of efficiency that they have, and then we will plot a graph based on that ratings, and we will see the mean line where we show the 3-star rating of the product. And we also have a calculation, of course. If you go to the standards that I've shown just now, there is a calculation for us to calculate the efficiency. But main thing is that we do need to gather all the information on the product, especially on the test report, which shows the ratings of the product. And we will ask Sirim to do a verification for us. And once all that is done, a testing is conducted before a test report is issued. Every product must go through a testing requirement in order for them to produce a report, which in the report there is a performance rating that we will use to calculate the ratings of the product. Yeah. There's 2 steps here. One is testing report, and then the other one is the rating to determine the mean 3-star MAPs for the product. Okay, so I hope that answered the question.
Ada satu lagi soalan di atas, Cik Zul, daripada Mr. Sadish Umar.
Okay, tak nampak. Okay. Water under Energy Commission. Well, currently water has their own commission, which is PAN, Suruhanjaya Perkhidmatan Air Negara, and they have in place water efficiency program under SPAN. Yeah, you can check out their website. They do have the water efficiency program and equipment that they have also identified as a water saving equipment. Thank you. All right. So,
Thanks, Tunsu.
thank you very much, sir. All right, next. Okay, so that is Neap. Now, I'd like to share about what I mentioned earlier about the monitoring of electricity consumption in 25 ministries and PMO. As you can see, in 2017, we have achieved a total of about 18% savings, which is, if you reflected in terms of monetary, it's about 17 million ringgit of reduction. Okay, that is because the tariff is C1 and C2. So, and in total of 219 million kilowatt hour a year of savings in 2017. We basically do not stop monitoring. We're still monitoring, but we don't do reporting anymore because of well, there are quite a few things in the changes of the government. So we do still monitor, it's just that we don't do any reporting anymore because basically the reporting will go under Neap at the moment as of now. So this is what we have implemented. Okay, now the statement of EPC is implemented if the ministry wishes to go for EPC program. But if they conduct EPC, then the savings will not be reflected in here because this one is only for no cost and low cost measures only. Okay. these are the representation of the savings by each through each year and also month. Okay, right. Okay, this is what we want. I want to share about at the moment, because there is a previous program which is 11 Malaysia Plan and a current program under 12 Malaysia Plan. So the program is known as Eacg, Energy Audit Conditional Grant, under the 11 Malaysia Plan from 2016 to 2020. So it is a two type of program. One is for the government sector, where we audit and retrofit few installation in government sector, especially hospitals. And we have a program for the private sector, for the industry and commercial, and it is open to any industrial commercial company with a monthly consumption of 100,000 kilowatt hour or more. Minimum is equal or more 100,000. So the application is through SEDA for commercial and NGBTC for industry. And the installation need to appoint an ESCO, Energy Service Company, registered with Energy Commission to conduct the energy audit at their premises. So whenever they want to apply for the grant, they have to include the name of the ESCOs that will conduct the energy audit for them. Once everything is okay, is successful, then they must conduct the EE measures, energy saving measures, from year 1 to year 3. For example, if they participated in 2016, that means that within the next 3 years, 2016, 17, and 18, they need to conduct the EE program, because the contract will says that in order for them to get the grant from us, they need to do an EE measures in the same amount of grant that we have provided or more. Okay, in order to achieve a 5% saving annually. So in total of 3 years, they need to achieve a 15% reduction with regards to their electricity consumption. So whoever participated in 2018, they will need to conduct the program for the next 3 years until 2020. However, in 2019, we cannot entertain any more applications because we have depleted our fund by 2018. That is how good the program is. So those who have submitted the application for 2019-2020, we will entertain their application in 21 and 22, because there is a continuation of the program under 12 Malaysia Plan. Basically, these are the details of the program, the outcome of the program. For industry sector, we have a total of about 54.87 gigawatt hour savings, which is about 21 million ringgit. The participation is by 108 companies only, and the CO2 reduction is about 41 kiloton CO2 of equivalent. And then for commercial, we have 6.72 savings, a savings of about 2.7 million ringgit. 109 company participated, CO2 reduction of about 5.12 kiloton CO2. Excuse me. So, due to the success of the program, we have submitted sort of a continuation of the program back in 2020, and it was approved by the government, where, however, there is a slight changes has been conducted to the program, where it is now open to only industrial commercial installations subjected to the EMA regulations 2008. That means that their consumption annually is equal or more than 6 million kilowatt hour for a period of 1 year. That's a condition that we put in. The main reason for this is because then we don't have the issue of asking the installation to appoint a registered electrical energy manager. The problem under 11 Malaysia Plan is that when the installation is not subjected to the regulation, when we ask them to appoint a registered electrical manager, because that is part of the requirement of Eacg 1.0, some of them are quite reluctant. So there is a delay in the contract signing and all that. So a delay in funding, in dispersing the funding and all that. So in 2021-2025 Malaysia Plan, we've decided, and it's agreed upon, for us to only proceed with the email regulation installation. As I mentioned, there are 2,000 of them currently subjected to the regulation. In this case, they still need to appoint an ESCO registered with the Energy Commission to conduct the energy audit at the premises. And same principle still applies, that they need to conduct the program for the next 3 years in order for them to produce a savings. One of the outcome of the 11th Malaysia Plan is that, sorry, I forgot to put it in the slides, is that we have discovered that for industry sector, an average saving was about about 18 to 20% has been achieved for industry sector. 12% for industry sector and 18 to 20% for commercial sector. So that is the range of what we have put in the Eacg 2.0 2021-2025 because of we based it on the outcome of Eacg 1.0. One of the reasons why we conduct this program, one of the reasons that we have submitted to EPU was that we do need to come up with a benchmarking to determine an installation is efficient or not for every subsector. Can be industry and commercial. So you have your subsector like industry, you have your cement, steel, manufacturing, and so on and so forth, F&B and so on that. We wanted to determine what will be the benchmark that says that you are efficient industry or installation or not an efficient industry installation. So we can only do that if we have data or energy audit report that we can put in place and conduct an analysis to it. We are actually compiling of those data at the moment, and once we have enough of them, we will engage a study with any institution of higher learning that willing to participate in the study with us. Okay, so we are still accumulating the data as of now so that we can do the study later on. Basically, that is one of the main reasons why we conduct the study, other than providing grant and gathering savings for Nia 2016-2025. Okay. Now, before I go to BI, any questions on Eacg and also monitoring? Let me see if there's any questions there. Let's see.
Tuan Sun?
Yeah, sir. Sure.
Okay. Are we eligible for the Eacg for the second time? Because we have already had conducted in 2017 and 2016. So are we eligible for 2022 or 2023?
We as in UniMAP.
We get you?
We as in same installation, UniMAP,
Yeah,
or
same installation. Actually, last time conducted already all our location. Now, can we go for the grant again for the second time for the particular unit? Second audit.
You mean for the UniMAP?
No, energy grant actually.
Yeah, you can, but not the same installation.
Oh, okay, got it.
Not the same installation. However, this is for information for UniMAP. If you want to participate again, you can, but must be different location, different buildings, not the same building as what we have done before.
What about thermal energy audit?
Okay.
At the moment, it's still under electricity.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Tuan.
Thank you, sir. IEA data is 40% oil, 20% coal. No, coal is about 40% too, as of now. When is the star given? Okay, I answered that question just now. Okay. All right. Back to the... Okay. Right. Now we go to BEI, the Building Energy Efficiency Label in Government Buildings. This program started way back in 2018 and implemented in 2019. The main reason for this is because the consumption of by sectors, as shown earlier, commercial building is actually consuming quite a lot. And 22% of commercial sector consumption of electricity is by government buildings. I can share something. I I cannot share the total electricity bill the government is paying TMB. But what I can share is that, as I mentioned, there are 2,000 installations under EMIR 2008 with a base fee that they are paying TMB of 2.4 million ringgit a year. You times that the 2,000, that will just show you how much. There are 105 installations subjected to the regulation, government building subjected regulation, and they are paying a minimum, if you times 2.4 to 105, a minimum of 240 million ringgit to TMB. So that's quite a huge sum. That's a minimum of it. So there are a total of 167 government buildings in Malaysia, and there are about a total of 1.7 billion meters squared of area, with a minimum floor area of 2.6 meters squared. Now we put that aside. Our building size that we are targeting for BI Malaysian building is minimum of 8,000 meters squared of area. So any building larger than 8,000 meters squared at the moment, we will label them using the BI label approved by the government. Okay, these are the label that has been approved for us to use. It's from 1 star to 5 star. 5 star being the most efficient building, 1 star being the least efficient. That is a building category of office, hospital, university, school, and others. At the moment, we started our program with a building category of purpose-built office only as of now. But we are moving towards hospital. We have discussed with the hospital about 3 years ago, for them to come up with their own hospital energy rating, and provide the information to us, and we will issue the label to each and every hospital in Malaysia. We learned that there are many categories of hospital. We learned that there are state hospital, which is different from district hospital. We have hospital pakar, which is different from normal hospital. So we let Ministry of Health to determine that and just submit to us the details so we can issue the label to them. The building energy performance is in the unit of kilowatt hour per meter squared per year. Basically, we are measuring the electricity consumption within a meter squared of area annually. So that's what we are measuring at the moment. I know some of you might say that the label looks like a Myanmar flag. It's just so happened that we love that color, the blue color, so that's why we are using that. Okay, now these are the ratings that we are using currently for government office buildings or purpose-built office. So 1 star is a BI of more than 250 kilowatt hour per meter squared per year. And 5 star is a building that is consuming with a BI of equal or less than 100 kilowatt hour per meter squared per year. You'll be asking me what's the average of building BI label given to the government buildings. It's like a bell curve. Bell curve, which is slightly inclining to the left, which means that there are a lot of 3-star and 2-star government buildings. So yeah, that's what I can say, and I cannot share that as of now. This is our targets at the moment, but because of COVID-19, we have to delay the 2019 achievement or strategy until after COVID is completed, because we need to meet these people face to face in order to get the approval for us to conduct the BI label in, for example, schools and polytechnics and universities. Okay, so why BI labeling? Okay, there are many reasons for it. Basically, the main reason for it is I didn't put it in here. Is that 40% of energy generated or produced, and 70% of electricity generated is currently being consumed by buildings. You can get this information from IEA. They have the report on that. So that is one of the main reasons why we conduct this, other than to ascertain energy performance of government buildings, to accelerate efforts, making government buildings more efficient, to provide and disseminate info to building occupants, to create a platform of peer review, to help government achieve the national energy commitment of GDP by 45% by 2030 compared to 2005 level. Okay, all of that comes into one picture. That is 40% of energy, 70% of electricity is currently being consumed by buildings. So if we can build or construct our buildings in a much more efficient manner, then basically we can already reduce our energy demand on the demand side. Now there is saying that I actually gathered when there is a visit to EU. We conducted a visit to EU quite some time ago to assess the EU's building energy intensity program. What they were saying is that the reason why they are putting so much effort and also funding into making buildings in Europe much more efficient is because they wanted buildings constructed 50 years ago to become an energy efficient building now. And they wanted building that is being constructed now to still be energy efficient building 50 years in the future. So that is their motto that they are using at the moment. So basically that is why we have to start our BI labeling, because I know some people don't like me mentioning this, but we are way behind Singapore with regards to this. The green mark of Singapore, which is currently being enforced by Building Construction Authority of Singapore, is now at a very high level compared to what we have, which is before we have currently the rating tools in Malaysia are all voluntary and none of it is mandatory as of now, except for MyCRES maybe, but it still applies to building with the project worth of 50 million and the size is more than 8,000 meters squared. Okay, now we come up with BI labeling in government buildings not to compete with the current. Sorry, I still forgot to put green RE. Yang marah, green RE trooper. Okay, not to compete with all the rating tools existed in Malaysia. Okay, we are not in any way wanted to compete, but basically we are the first move in order to get the government buildings to acquire your expert assistance for them to become much more efficient and eventually approve their ratings with us. Because we do monitor their energy consumption annually, we do renew the label annually, and if there is no changes with regards to the energy intensity label in terms of numbers, then something has to be done in order to get them to improve. So that is where you guys come in order to assist them to improve their ratings, eventually for us to issue a label with a lot more stars there rather than less. Okay. So this is what I mentioned just now, the demonstration or promotion of EE in Malaysia. One of them is by demonstrating EE buildings. So we do have low energy office LEO building in Malaysia, which is formerly the office of Ministry of Energy, which is now no more, and so their rating is no longer less than 100. It's more now because the Ministry of Energy no longer resides there. We have Green Energy Office Geo building, that is the Malaysian Green Tech Corporation building in Bangi, Selangor. They were also supposed to be what we call a net zero energy building. The first net zero energy building in Malaysia, but however, we are still working towards that. And as of now, they are only their BEI is only 65 kilowatt hour per year, which is lower than Energy Commission. Energy Commission Diamond Building is basically a third generation EE building in Malaysia. We have improved from both the LEO and GEO experience, and our BEI now is at 85 kilowatt hour per year. However, we have spoken to our administration of unit in recently, and they told us that it has been reduced to 80, but we still need to see the actual numbers. So as of now, we stick to 85. And we have Menara Kerja Raya 2, or we call it KKR2, completed in 2015, is a platinum cert by GBI. And the BI is about 90 kilowatt hour per year annually. So this is the 4 buildings minus number 1, the 3 buildings in Malaysia currently having a BI of less than 100 kilowatt hour per year. If there is more, as there is any other building in Malaysia that is having that number similar to these offices, then please inform me so I can include them in my slides in the future. Thank you. As of now, we have labeled about 232 government buildings. We have 18 private buildings that has participated in the labeling program. Yes, you can participate in our labeling program, although you are not government building or you are semi-government building or GLC and things like that. So you still can participate with us. We can issue you the label should you wanted to do so. All right. I think I'll go quickly on EPC and ESCOs. The reason I wanted to share this is because this is a good concept of implementing energy saving measures. We've started this in the government sector in 2013. The concept of EPC, it cannot run away from the concept from using ESCOs, and it is ensuring. In order for you to participate in government project, then you need to register with Energy Commission first and bring our certs to the Ministry of Finance to register under the code 222-801 Green Tech Services. Without that, you cannot participate in any government EE program or green program or so on and so forth. All right, now, this is the implementation strategy. Need to be registered with ST. You need to engage the service of ESCOs in e-project. ESCOs will conduct energy audit. ESCOs will offer to finance the project for you. ESCOs will guarantee the savings over an agreed terms. Payment to ESCO is based upon the guaranteed savings scheme. Actual amount to be paid will be based on the agreed sharing value between ESCOs and the government facility. After the agreement ended, the ownership of the equipment system will be transferred to the owners or the government. Now, as of now, we have an Epc Guideline being approved by the AGCs and also by the Ministry of Finance to be registered as a Pekeliling Perbendaharaan or finance circulation, so that everybody can use that as a guide in order to conduct EPC. Now, I'm going fast. This is a sample of EPC, which is quite simple. Your bill is about 100,000 ringgit a month, but when you conduct EPC, then there's a reduction of 30,000, which you can use the whole of it to pay to the ESCOs, or you can agree on a sum, maybe 10,000 to ESCO and 10,000 returned back to you, so that you can use it for any other programs that you wanted to do. Now, after the period of EPC ended, the savings 20,000 is totally belongs to the owner, and you can conduct another EPC should you want to do so in order to increase your savings. All right, these are the responsibilities of the ESCOs, which include project financing, supply of EE devices and equipment, consultancy, management of EPC contract works, commissioning services, energy audit, operation maintenance of equipment. During the EPC period, the maintenance of equipment is all done by ESCO. It's part of the agreement of EPC. Design engineering, inspection of EE project conducted by the ESCO from time to time. Okay, now, this is what I want to highlight here. The best part of EPC is that there'll be no upfront cost to the owner, and not just upfront cost, there's no capex at all to the owner. ESCO will finance and implement the saving measures, the whole lot. Okay, and the savings achieved is, again, without compromising the user's comfort. ESCOs cannot do an EE project where it compromises your comfort. ESCO will install and maintain the EE equipment during the EPC period. ESCO payment will be based upon actual saving achieved through valid MNV, measurement and verification procedure conducted by MNV expert. Okay, now, this is where the savings can be shared upon, or a total amount can be paid to ESCO. Should you want to reduce your EPC period, then we always advise for you to give the whole payment to ESCO so that you can reduce your contract period. After the contract period ended, all the equipment will become the property of the owner. So that is basically the whole concept of EPC, and it's being currently implemented in the private sector. There are many concepts of EPC that existed, and then there are many ways to do EPC. We ourselves have been learning that there are many concepts currently being implemented, and we are also learning all the concept there is. All right, now this is, I think, one of my last slide lah. So way forward for EE in Malaysia is basically on your right side, policy legal framework. This is where Eacg comes into picture, and the Eacg that we are drafting currently to involve both electrical energy and thermal energy. Thermal being other types of fuel being used, for example, natural gas, LPG, you use hot water, we include that too. Steam, we include that too, and so on and so forth. So that's what we are doing. There was a question just now on the status of energy efficiency conservation. Let me check that again. Okay, that is about sharing of the slides. We can share the slides afterwards. Where is it? Eacg. Okay, now mind. So Eacg currently is in the final stage of not drafting anymore. Current stage of discussion with the Attorney General's Chamber and together with the Ministry. We plan to table it initially in the Parliament for the first reading in March. However, we have to postpone it to the second reading, which is in June or July, due to some unforeseen circumstances. So we are now, as I said, we are now in the final stage of discussion with the Attorney General Chambers. We have many discussions already for the past 3 months with them. So many back and forth in terms of comment and input. So with regards to ENC, yes, we plan to regulate building efficiency as part of the Eacg. How it will be done, we will conduct a comms plan, a communication plan with the stakeholders. Once the Eacg has been approved by the Parliament, there will be a comms plan with all the stakeholders related. We'll tell you a story about Eacg in detail, the the enforcement plan, the implementation strategy, and all that will be done during those times. Next is awareness. We do need to foster EE culture among the stakeholders and the public. Okay, one thing I want to say about this is that many are saying if you install a solar panel, then it is EE. We have a common statement nowadays that we have just discovered that we do EE by installing solar panel. No. Personally, what for me is that you install solar panel that is not EE, that is, we call that currency efficiency. Yes, you reduce your bill payment to TMB, but I can assume that your total consumption daily and monthly, annually will still remain the same. That means that if the consumption or units still remain the same, you have not done any energy efficiency. Basically, you're still not efficient in terms of unit consumption, but you are efficient in terms of reducing your bill that you need to pay to TMB. That is something that I just need to share with you. That is something very common now at the moment, that whoever did NAM, whoever did NAM mostly, they are considered EE. No, I kept telling those NAM applicants and also whoever being approved already that no, that is not yet EE. That is just changing the intake of electricity. Instead of generating by fossil fuel, you are generating the electricity via green fuel. But if you do not reduce your energy consumption, that is still not efficient. Okay. Monitoring, we do constant monitoring now, smart building monitoring via EMI system that I mentioned earlier. From there we can see whether there is a reduction in terms of your energy consumption or electricity energy consumption. We do constant enforcement but with the assistance of our enforcement unit and also our regional officers to installation who have yet to appoint a registered electrical energy manager. We do need to improve the resources in EE such as expert energy auditor, expert MNV to assist us to evaluate whether the EE program conducted by such installation is in the best mode there is. Last but not least, when it comes to EE, we know investment in EE is expensive. That is why we introduced the EPC concept, but also we need to have a funding mechanism to assist the ESCOs in order to acquire funding. At the moment, we have been made aware that the banks and main banks in Malaysia, such as SIMB, Maybank, Affin, Hong Leong, is now providing funding or assistance to ESCOs who have ventured into an EE project with a certain installation. That is a very good news to us. And before COVID, we have finalized the EE documents by Bank Negara Malaysia, which we work together with MDTC, Bank Negara, and all the banks in Malaysia in order to tell a story about EE and why it is important to fund EE programs in Malaysia. Okay, now this is an image that is shared upon by my good friend Mr. Gregors. It is called a leaky bucket scenario. So what it says here is that the leaking parts of the pail is where if you don't do EE, you don't do energy efficiency, you keep having leaks everywhere, and you have to keep pouring your supply in the pail to keep the water full. Okay, and the supply can come from all sources. It might be fossil fuel, it might be RE, solar, wind, geothermal, biomass, so on and so forth. Eventually, if you don't plug your leakage early, you might need to go for nuclear energy. I'm not saying that because Malaysia wanted to do it. We're not going to do it anymore. We don't have MNPC, which has been closed down. But maybe just in the future, somebody will start looking into it, because as I showed you earlier in the earliest slides, in the APAIC program under ASEAN, the last one is civilian nuclear energy, is still part of the discussion among ASEAN countries from time to time. Now, this is the image of what 1 ton CO2 look like. 1 ton, and we always use 1 kiloton CO2. Okay, this is 1 ton, not even 1,000 of them. So kiloton is 1,000 ton of CO2. This is 1 ton of CO2, and this is the size of it, as shown here by ecomotion.us. It's about 10 times the diameter of a normal human being. Sorry, about 5 times the diameter of a normal human being. So that is how much CO2 being produced whenever we do not conduct EE and we don't change our resources from fossil fuels to another, or when we meet GHG emission. Okay, I think that is last slide, and I wish to thank you very much for your attendance and for your time. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain. If I cannot answer, I will look upon it and get back to you. So thank you very much. Thank you to UniMAP and SM for hosting the program. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. MC Tunku.
Okay, terima kasih banyak. I would like to thank our presenter today, Mr. Zul, for sharing with us a very good information related to energy efficiency. So since we have around 15 more minutes before 12, so maybe we can maybe Mr. Zul can entertain one or two more questions. Is there any question? Okay, Mr. Murugia. Okay, maybe you can ask question.
Zul, thank you very much for your talk. I'm
You're welcome.
especially impressed by the EPC terms and condition, and therefore I want to add a bit more.
Sure, please.
I'm very happy with it. Your terms, your condition actually holds people responsible for what they do. I'm very impressed, and therefore I like to add a few things
Sure.
to make it maybe implementation becomes much more effective in the sense. You'll observe that the laws in this country, Engineers Act, Competency, OSHA, and also this Factories Machinery Act makes it very difficult for free movement of professional and competent people in conducting their work.
Okay.
And therefore, I observe also you are discussing with the Eacg chamber on the conditions for all these energy efficiency act and regulations. I would request you very humbly, Eacg chamber must have full knowledge of the Engineers Act, of the OSHA, of the Electricity Act, also of the Factories and Machinery Act, before we land up with some complications. Give you an example. Engineers Act regulations, section 7.3 says, competent people, which I was involved in that part in 72, we discussed and agreed to, those issued with competent certificate under the Electricity Act or any other act can only do what is specifically mentioned in that competent certificate. Therefore, it restricts people doing different from what it says there, number one. Number two, maybe a surprise for many, I happen to be in this game for many years, the electrical motors covered by the Factories Machinery Act cannot be operated by a chargeman or even a competent engineer because it's deemed to be a machinery under the Machinery Act. The other more glaring problem is even a chargeman, competent engineer, cannot operate even under a factory if that electrical motor is actually operating a pumping system unless that competent electrical engineer or chargeman is trained, they call it train, and there's no specification of train, before you can operate that electrical motor in a factory which operates a plant that comes under machinery enactment. I know it's very complex and complicated. I've tried to bring these up many times. I want to take this opportunity, now that you're discussing with Eacg chambers in great detail, please ask them to go through all these laws. Otherwise, you may have a problem of electrical engineer doing mechanical work, mechanical engineer doing electrical audit. All these are forbidden under many different laws. I request very humbly, I don't want to hurt anybody's feeling. I'm sincerely trying to do my part and my knowledge on this so that I've seen to be contributing positively to the success of the EPC and also the new act that's come about. I must tell you, Eacg chamber have to go through the other act now. They are the only people. My many meetings with Eacg chamber, I realized they themselves are not well versed of the interlink of the many laws. I've had meetings with them from 72. Every time I met them, they seem to be surprised. Please let us do a good job. And I think ICM I represent will totally support as long as it doesn't step on other areas. Thank you. Okay, so.
Thank you, Mr. Murugai. Thank you for the input. We'll definitely try to convey it to AGC. However, with regards to ECA, it has been brought through to all the ministries in Malaysia, I think quite a few times, where they need to go through, before we send to the cabinet, normally we have to send a draft of it to every ministries related to the act and get their input of it. So that's normally what we do. And then with regards to EPC, thank you for the input, except that with regards to Eacg, we do not regulate EPC as part of Eacg. It is still an independent activities that we are promoting to installation owners to conduct energy saving measures with the use of experts. And also the main thing is that without the need to come up with their own capex. That's most important, because we know when you can invest in so many projects, but when it comes to energy efficiency, it's something that is people quite reluctant to do compared to RE. As my bosses in the ministry used to say, EE is not as sexy as RE. Thank you, Mr. Burgai. I will convey that to during our discussion.
Please tell Eacg Chamber they have made mistakes in the past. I'm sorry to tell you. I had to go there and correct, and they have admitted they made mistake. I'm very clear about that.
Thank you.
So I'm trying to be positive to make sure what comes out is applicable. Again, I must say your EPC terms are very good.
Thank you.
I think you have hit the nail on the head. You pay for it and make sure there's this result. I think that's very
Thank you,
good.
sir.
Very good. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Murugia. Maybe another quick question from the floor. Is there anybody who would like to raise your hand?
Tunku satu soalan.
Okay, Profesor Ghazali dari UUM boleh tanya soalan kepada panel kita. Cik Zul?
Cik Zul, apa ni kan lately kerajaan dah release satu polisi ke apa tu yang pasal penggunaan renewable energy ke apa?
Okay, okay.
So yang tu kemudian dengan tajuk yang hari ni tu, so in what way, maksudnya in the near future-nya kan whenever we talk about our renewable energy ni as compared to apa yang dibuat di luar negara ataupun Europe lah obviously. Kita kan ke belakang dari segi percentage-nya lah. Renewable energy as compared to typical punya energy kan. So selain daripada kerajaan release ada polisi, kemudian tadi Cik Zul kata within short time mungkin kita akan buat enforcement. Maksudnya macam mana? Sekarang 2022, 2023, bila benda tu yang akan supaya whatever agenda ke arah sustainable dan renewable energy tu boleh dicapai dengan keadaan segera lah.
Okay. Okay, Prof. Okay, untuk RE tadi yang Prof mention tu, I think it's NEM kot, Net Energy Metering punya concept, which is largely promoted by Kementerian Tenaga and also by ST, by SEDA, and also by TMB lah. So correct me if I'm wrong, tapi saya rasa itu pasal NEM, Net Energy Metering, where you can install solar and then you use yourself. Kalau ada lebih, then you can sell to TMB. I think that is NEM lah. Or you contra in terms of bill dengan TMB. So NEM. So that is RE, where REX sudah ada. It's being enforced by SEDA Malaysia, Sustainable Energy Development Authority. So that is that. Kecuali we call it large scale solar, because dalam REX dia kata RE yang SEDA boleh regulate is up to 30 megawatt sahaja. Anything above 30 megawatt is ministers punya jurisdiction. So ministers boleh decide siapa yang kena implement the program lah. So as of now, when it comes to large scale solar, it's under Energy Commission, and below 30 megawatt is under SEDA. Cumanya bila you nak guna sendiri self consumption, then you only need to register dengan Energy Commission. Tapi bila you nak connect ke grid, that is when things be a bit more intense, where you kena ada lesen and so on and so forth lah. So itu RE. When it comes to EE, kita sekarang dalam proses draft Energy Efficiency Conservation Act. The reason why kita nak draft this act, nombor satu sekali, is because of apa nama? Sorry, ada gangguan. Okay, the reason why we nak draft this act is because kita punya neighbor around ASEAN, contohnya lah, Thailand sudah ada this act since 1990s lagi. Okay, Singapore sudah ada since early 2000, late 2010 gitu, Singapore, tak silap saya. And then Philippines sudah ada last year, Vietnam sudah ada 3 years ago, and all of these people when they meet at international level, dia present dia punya savings in terms of KTOE or gigawatt hour, gigajoule, which means that dia no longer tengok on electricity sahaja, but the whole spectrum of energy. Whereas kita Malaysia, for the past 8 tahun saya duk attend mesyuarat SOMER, energy meeting peringkat kementerian dengan ministry, kita masih lagi duk present pasal kilowatt hour, which means that kita duk monitor the small part of energy spectrum, which is only 20% of it. So kita tak tengok the whole spectrum of energy. So kadang-kadang sampai satu tahap tu kita malu nak cerita dekat ASEAN, dan kita duk tengok kecil je. Dia orang duk present ni in terms of KTOE, so big a value lah basically. So that's why kita decided that we need to talk to the government. The government also agreed bila kita bincang that we need to draft an EECA in Malaysia so that kita boleh regulate a larger spectrum of energy and put a bigger target. Tadi saya cerita Neap is only 52,000 gigawatt hour, which is compare dengan consumption of installation bawah IMER tu, which is about 40 terawatt hour annually. Annually. Kita target 10 years bawah 52,000, mana satu tahun 5,000 gigawatt hour. Those yang familiar with the numbers akan ketawa lah bila dengar tu. Okay. And some people will say kita still tengok benda kecil lah. So that's why we need to do that. And one of the main reasons satu lagi is because kalau kita tak buat cepat-cepat in the next 1 or 2 years, Myanmar akan ada dulu pada kita, which is lagi segan lah kita in a sense lah. So that's what I can share at the moment lah, Prof. Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih banyak kepada Profesor Ghazali dari UUM, dan nampaknya kita punya webinar sampai setakat ini sahaja disebabkan masa telah hampir pada pukul 12 tengah hari. Pihak penganjur iaitu Pusat Pengurusan Tenaga dan Kampus Lestari UniMAP KOSEM ingin merakamkan ucapan terima kasih banyak kepada penceramah kita Encik Zul di atas perkongsian yang sangat hebat dan mantap tadi. Dan juga terima kasih kepada pihak hadirin dan hadirat yang turut hadir dalam sesi webinar ini, sama ada di kalangan warga UniMAP, sama ada daripada kalangan agensi-agensi kerajaan dan para profesional, sama ada jurutera profesional, teknologi profesional, pengurus tenaga elektrik dan juga agensi-agensi swasta. Jadi diharapkan apa yang disampaikan pada hari ini dapat memberi manfaat kepada semua. Dan mohon kepada semua untuk mengisi attendance list yang disertakan dalam link tadi, dan insya-Allah sijil akan dapat serta-merta. Sijil akan dapat serta-merta. Dari segi CPD pula, kita telah memohon dengan pihak BEM dan juga MBOT, dan kita menunggu kelulusan daripada pihak daripada pengalaman yang terdahulu. Program ini selalunya akan dapat 2 CPD daripada BEM dan 1.5 CPD daripada pihak MBOT. Kita juga akan minta daripada pihak ST jugalah. Tak minta lagi. Dan sebagai tambahan untuk pengetahuan semua, pada minggu depan pihak KOSEM akan ada satu lagi program webinar, tapi kali ini tajuk dia lain sikit, iaitu Rumah Ibadat Hijau. Rumah Ibadat Hijau, satu inisiatif ke arah alam sekitar yang mana panelnya daripada Green Tech Malaysia, MGTC dan juga Yayasan Wakaf. Jadi tuan-tuan dan puan-puan adalah dijemput hadir. Kita akan hantar invitation kepada semua. Dan sebelum kita bersurai, saya mohon kita semua dapat membuka kamera untuk kita adakan sedikit sesi bergambar. Mungkin Cik Zul boleh unshare untuk kita. Okey, disebabkan kita menggunakan Google Meet, jadi kita boleh mengambil gambar setakat yang ada dalam skrin sajalah.
Peace.
Okey.
Okay, peace.
Okey, gaya bebas, gaya bebas.
Yes, freestyle, peace. Tadi kiri tak akan nak.
Okey, itu saja.
Excellent. Thank you semua. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you for participation and thank you for having me. Terima kasih banyak. Assalamualaikum. Very good afternoon.
Okey,
Thank you,
selamat
everyone.
berpuasa.
Thank you.
Dan selamat menyambut Ramadan.
Thank you.
Sekian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much. Okay, terima kasih.